I had the privilege to preach over at the school this morning, Ash Wednesday, and so you're going to get a regurgitated homily for first graders. I know just what you were looking for on this snowy night. But I started off just by asking the kids, do you remember the first day of school? All the hands shoot up. It's the start of it all. And then I went around and I'm like, okay, and since the first day of school, what subjects have you been learning? What's been coming up in your classes? And the first kid that raised his hand, Jim. I'm like, man after my own heart, yes. But, we got some science and social studies and English, and I'm like, give me a thumbs up if you need to pay attention. Yep, because our teachers are watching. Give me a thumbs up if you need to do your homework. Yep, thumbs up, teachers are watching. And the year goes on, and then at the end of the trimester, or the end of the school year, what happens? And they're like, well, we get a report card. I'm like, ooh, report card. And what does the report card tell you? Well, ideally, the report card is a reflection of how much you learned from that given year. And so, of course, I had my dad dig out of the archives from 2009, my 5th grade report card. No A's, a couple B's, quite a few C's. Miss Joanna Padden, though, she gave me good marks. Did you know she was my grade school music teacher? Did you know that? I'm serious. But anyways, yes, they were shocked to see that I had a C in religion. But anyways, I know, miracles do happen. But why did I ask them this? Well, in the same way, we're starting Lent today. This is like the first day of school. It kind of has that spiritual vibe to it. It's like the beginning of the trimester. We are starting something new. And Jesus today in the gospel lists off the 3 classes that we're enrolled in for this trimester. And the 3 classes are prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. The kids got prayer and fasting, and then no hands went up for almsgiving, so I'm like, it rhymes with balmsbiving, and then they got it. But those are the subjects that we are enrolled in. And just like when you're enrolled in math and gym and science, you need to be intentional. You need to study, you need to do your homework, because you're going to get a mark at the end of that trimester. We need to do the same thing in our spiritual classes this Lent. Prayer. Prayer. That is one of the subjects that we can kind of grade ourselves on. We need to grow in this area. And I tell the kids all the time, why do we pray? Praying is not just reciting some memorized thing, although that's very good. You can say prayers and that can lead you into deeper prayer. But why do we pray? We're spending time with the one who loves us most. We're letting him work on us. God does the acting. I do the receiving. It's like brain surgery on me when I go and sit before him. So when we pray, we're getting closer to God. And so one of the things that we need to do, a lot of times we just think, well, I just need to give something up for Lent. Now, actually, you got 3 classes. And number 1, the first things he talks about is to pray. What are you going to do to grow in prayer this Lent? You have 40 days, give or take. What are you going to do to grow in prayer? Is it going to be something before you go to bed? Maybe it's going to be, I know some guys in the seminary that when they woke up in the morning, the first thing they did was hit their knees for a minute and thank God. They called it the Holy Minute. Maybe that's it. Maybe you channel your inner Father Josh and you do a teaspoon. But you do something. Prayer. And then the second class we're in is fasting. And this one, I think, really puzzled the kids this morning. Why is God asking us to fast? Why is he asking us to give up something that we like? Is it because God is really into making us sad for 40 days? Not really. He's not into that necessarily. What we're doing when we're fasting is we're giving something up as a way of practicing saying no to ourselves. I always give them the example. I'm like, when the brownie is in front of me, I know in my head, God doesn't want me to eat that whole pan, and Jennifer Shustacek, my mother, certainly does not want me to eat that whole pan. But part of me kind of wants to do that. I kind of want to do what God doesn't want me to do. And so what am I doing in Lent? I'm kind of, if you will, working out that muscle, practicing saying yes to God and no to myself. It's like a fire drill, right? When we're fasting from something, and there's not a real fire. It's not a real sin, right? If you're giving up your headphones or candy or ice cream, those are good things. There's no actual fire. But when the actual fire comes along, you need to know how to respond. When an actual sin temptation comes along, you need to have that muscle built to say, no, I'm saying yes to God and Jennifer Shustacek in this moment. Fasting. Prayer, fasting, and then finally, almsgiving. We're going to get a grade on that. And obviously that means helping those that are less fortunate. So there's the obvious things, and I encourage this. Are you going to do it for them? Giving something, donating your time. But one thing I really encourage the kids is, what about the person in your class that doesn't have a lot of friends? What about the kid on your hockey team or your dance team that people regularly talk bad about and they don't get invited to anything? Maybe for Lent, your almsgiving is, hey, buddy, I'm having a birthday party this weekend. You want to come? There you go. There's a way to Jesus' heart. But for all of these things, this trimester, it's an exciting time. You get to turn over a new leaf here in Lent. Prayer, fasting, almsgiving. These are your 3 classes. And in the end, you can kind of give yourself a little bit of a grade. How did I do? And how do you grade it? It's not if you're perfect at the end. That's not the grade. The grade is, did I make progress in love of God? In love of my neighbor? That's the grade. And of course, Easter is kind of like when finals week is over. Woo! But until then, we've got some work we've got to do. And so in each of these 3 categories, I want you to talk about with your families. I'm not just saying this, I mean this. When you're in the car on the way home with your spouse or whoever, talk about this. What are you going to do for Lent in these 3 categories? It doesn't have to be a big thing. I went into my spiritual director when I was a young, zealous seminarian with my C's on my 5th grade report card, and I asked, I'm like, you know what I want to do for fasting? I think I'm going to sleep on the floor and I'm going to give up meat all of Lent. And he's like, yeah, why don't you pick something small to medium that you can actually do past 3 days? I'm like, whew, he knows I'm weak. But anyways, have a good plan to get good grades here in Lent. And honestly, in some of these homilies throughout Lent, I'm going to ask you, how you doing? Parent-teacher conference, if you will. How are you doing? How are you doing in these 3 things? Prayer, fasting, and almsgiving.